Hi, hello, good morning, my young officers. Welcome to this session called as Complete Course on Indian Economy for your UPSC or IAS Prelims and Mains Examination. So this is Nisha Nujumudeen, your educated Unacademy. I'm an economist, entrepreneur, and I've taught 60 plus GS batches with an experience of 6 years in the field of teaching. So now in this particular YouTube session, in a very structured manner, we are covering the complete syllabus of Indian economy with master fees. So today we are going to discuss Chapter 4, Part-2, which deals with monetary policy. So if you see over the previous weeks, we have been discussing chapter-wise various important topics which are very important from the prelims and mains perspective for UPSC, right? So Chapter 4, Part 1 was dealing with money. What is the basic concepts of money, how money evolved over the times, and currently what we are using, what are the so-called advancements in the top in the form of money and all, right? From your barter system, then the evolution of coins, metals, then your paper currencies, your credit cards, debit cards, all these things, to the so-called cryptocurrencies, that is bitcoins and all. So now we have had a detailed discussion regarding all these things in the previous classes. So now, since this is a very basic class which is very useful for the prelims and mains examination, we'll be taking it in depth, so then you will have a very strong foundation as well based on the economy concepts. So yes, hello Tyson, hi Sheetal, good morning. Yes, Param Pooja, good morning. Hello guys, how are you all? So Subha all active? Yes. So now the schedules of my classes like every day morning 8 a.m. that is Monday to Saturday morning 8 a.m. you will have your free YouTube class in Unacademy Expedition channel based on complete course in economy. And now after that 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Monday to Friday, you will have top 500 mains question answer for your UPSC mains 2021. So now that will be happening in the Unacademy app, guys. That is also free special live class. So taking into consideration the upcoming mains in next 3 months, we'll be doing a complete revision of the most important mains question answer topic. So do not forget to enroll for that. For all the details, very simple, go to the description box of this particular video. You will have the links of my Unacademy profile. You can join that to literally follow all the free course which I have been doing, okay? And also those who are looking for subscription, that is for the Unacademy Plus subscription, because a lot of benefits are there. To be a part of the batches, and also before the fee hike in Unacademy, use the code nisha.nujumudeen or NishaYT10, that is YouTube 10. Any of these code you can get to avail a discount and come under the personal mentoring program which I have been doing. So this is just about the profile, guys. So yes, all ready? Okay. So now, in Chapter 4, Part 2, as you saw in the description, guys, yes, we'll be discussing about monetary policy. So now we all know that the importance of monetary policy in our country, India. Always it has been associated with what? The so-called inflation. Because monetary policy, again, monetary means money. It talks about how the supply of money has been regulated by your central bank of the country, that is RBI. So now automatically, when there is too much of money supply, a situation of inflation arises, and when there is less of money supply, situation of deflation arises. So when you're in this particular Chapter 4, Part 2 of monetary economics, we'll be discussing various concepts in a very detailed manner as to what is the so-called concept of monetary policy for our country India, how effective it is. Next is the inflation and deflationary perspectives with regard to monetary policy. That is, along with the concept clearing, we'll be doing how it is related, because in Chapter 3 we have discussed completely regarding inflation chapter. So now in the context of monetary policy, we're going to connect these inflation and deflation concept. After that, what happens when there is a recession, that is complete slowing down of economic activities, and when there is a complete rise in the price of commodities? What happens in those two scenarios with regard to the monetary policy? What will RBI do? We all know that in simple terms, monetary policy is what? Is the policy adopted by the central bank of our country India. That is none other than the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, right? So in this particular perspective, we'll be covering some important concepts. Clear? And you have a Chapter 4, Part 3 as well. There we'll go in detail regarding the RBI perspective, the functions, the credit control policies and all. In this particular Part 2 of monetary economics, we'll do a quick revision of all these concepts which I've told you right now. Okay? Perfect. Yes, Paras, that is I think that is Sindhuja. Yes. Okay. Yes, good morning to you as well. So after this class, yes Pooja, after this class you need to, you all have to come for the 9:30 a.m. Special live class which happens at Unacademy, okay? Matlab the free live class. So to begin with, guys, the monetary policy. What is the monetary policy in India? In simple terms, I told you the policy adopted by the central bank of our country, that is RBI. So now what about the concept of monetary policy in India, guys? Yes, as I told you before, in simple terms or in general terms, the regulatory policy of a country which enables the most important core or key bank of a country, that is a central bank or monetary authority, to control what? To control the supply of money in the economy, and also to make sure that they're controlling the availability of bank credit or money, and also the cost of money or rate of interest. When all these factors are controlled and monitored thoroughly by a central authority called as RBI, that is called as monetary policy in simple terms in the context of our country, India. When all these three factors are taken into consideration, when they have been monitored properly, that is what the monetary policy of a country, India, does. Okay, so the key words are RBI, money supply, availability of bank credit, that is money, and how the rate of interest has been controlled, because all these things are again the bigger versions of your quantitative or qualitative instruments of credit control by the RBI in the context of monetary policy, which we'll be discussing in the coming sessions. Clear? Now, why do you think monetary policy is important for a country like India? Definitely, we all know that if your economy wants to function properly, you need to have some important policies. Actually, government has two policies. One is monetary by RBI, and second is what? The second is fiscal policy. What is fiscal policy? The policy by the government of India, which talks about your taxation, your public expenditure, your public debt, and also deficit financing. So all that is totally a different part, which we'll be discussing in the coming chapters. So now, this monetary policy, guys, the connection of or the effectiveness of monetary policy in the context of our country, India, is that in our country, India, it is very, very important. Why? It is an important tool, in fact, I can tell you, or instrument for the economic management, because your central bank, that is RBI, they are the most important factor or the monetary authority for country India, because they are the ones who literally controls how the supply of money is being distributed in the economy, and also the availability of bank credit, matlab the availability of money. So now when there is some sort of fluctuations in the economy, only the RBI guys can deal it by making sure that the proper instruments, like let's say for example the bank rate or the interest rate, or let's say for example the open market operations, or your repo rate, reverse repo rate, all these are some concepts. Using this, they'll try to control the money supply. That is, they will increase it when it is necessary and decrease it when it is necessary. They use it, all these instruments properly there. So this is a very basic concepts, but it is having a very important relevance to the current affairs perspective. If you open in newspapers these days, with regard to RBI context, if there is a news, you would have seen your repo rate, reverse repo rate, the bank rate, how RBI is controlling the monetary policy and all. So basically, for doing all those things, you need your monetary policy. Okay? And now, another important reason why you need the monetary policy for your country like India is, it is very, very important, or let's say responsible for ensuring that the entire banking system, okay, they are able to make the legal, I repeat, legal, no kallataram guys, matlab legitimate means all the legal credit requirements, and not for unproductive or speculative reasons, matlab not for any sort of kallatarams or mischievous reasons, they will never even monitor, but rather making sure that yes, all the legal credit or money requirements of banking system, you need the effective participation, or let's say the contribution of what, guys? The monetary policy. This is the importance of this important tool called as monetary policy for the economic management of our developing economy like India. Not only for India, for any economy, guys, be it developed or underdeveloped, you need to have an effective monetary policy. As far as US is concerned, they have the Federal Reserve, which is their central bank. For India, it is the Reserve Bank of India, which is the central bank, which monetary policy takes into consideration. Clear? And now, people may think which is important. Is it your monetary policy or your fiscal policy? But now both the policies are equally important. So if you see that always the RBI and the government, they do have heated arguments with regard to the policies and all. That is why from the current affairs perspective, they came with something called as MPC. What is MPC? Monetary Policy Committee. That is, you have, let's say, 3 members from RBI perspective and 3 members from the government of India, and making sure that there is some sort of equality, unity, and there is no sort of conflicts between the decisions taken by the government of India and also the RBI. That is, for example, with regard to public expenditure, the government of India is allotting more expenditure for one particular sector, and now the situation may be in such a way that the availability of money is less. So now as per the monetary policy of RBI, they may go for some other policies. they may go for a contraction of money, whereas the government of India using the fiscal policy, they will say no, let's go for expansion of money. So conflict arises. So at the end of the day, it literally affects the management of the economy. To prevent such kind of conflicts only, in the year 2016, they came with a committee called as MPC, wherein so many concepts like your inflation targeting, then fixing of how to measure inflation, like whether it is your wholesale price index or consumer price index, all these things were decided. So these are the current affairs perspectives, guys, which we'll be discussing in the coming slides and chapters. Okay. As of now, this is what you should understand regarding the monetary policy concept. And for the prelims point of view, these are the things, that is with regard to the MPC, inflation targeting, these are the points which you have to keep in mind, because based on this only questions can come. So kindly note it. Clear? Is everything fine? Okay. Now, what do you think could be the objective in very simple terms of this monetary policy? So thus, if you see, the first important aim or objective for monetary policy for our country India is growth with stability. It's very true. See, it's not just the growth alone. So growth alone will not give you alone give you a success rate or development. Now, when there is growth in the economy, there should be stability. When there is no stability, means what happens? The prices will increase, the unemployment rate will increase. At the end of the day, the economy will collapse. There is no point of faida in having growth. So now, monetary policy is basically put forward as an effective tool for the economic management of our country India, in order to ensure that there is growth along with the proper stability. What stability? Your financial stability. I repeat, financial stability. And that is the backbone, I can tell you, of what the monetary policy for our country India. Because this policy, guys, it helps in the regulation of what? Availability, cost, and the use of money. That is the availability of money as well, how to use them as well. Right? So now, the most important objectives or primary objectives of monetary policy is what? Any idea? Point number 1, here it goes. Growth with stability, as I told you. Next is regulation, supervision, and also development of financial stability. Very true, because as far as an economy is concerned, you may have money, the economy will have investment going on, etc., etc. But now, suddenly when there is a rise in price, let's say inflation, or suddenly when there is a fall in price, deflation, the economy fluctuates accordingly, right? So now, when there is no financial stability, that literally affects the functioning or working of the Indian economy to a greater extent. So now, the monetary policy is put forward to ensure that applying the proper credit control policies or tools or instruments what they have, like your qualitative and quantitative instruments, repo rate, reverse repo rate, cash reserve ratio, statutory reserve ratio, all these things, using that they will do the management in the economy with regard to supply of money, and making sure that there is proper liquidity or controlling the liquidity as such, depending on situations. Another important object of monetary policy is priority sector. See, what are the priority sector, guys? Priority means important. The most important sectors of economy. We know that basically there are 3 sectors. What are they? The 3 sectors of economy is, you would have studied in NCERT, right? And all of you know that. Primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector. Primary is agriculture, secondary is manufacturing or industry, and tertiary is service sector. So now, apart from this, if you see, priority means obviously agriculture. To promote the allied activities, agriculture and all, money should be given. The commercial bank should literally, supply available credit to these people. At the same time, the other priority areas like your education, your health, your housing, all these are also important. So now, what will monetary policy do? Now, the monetary policy of RBI, they will say that all the commercial banks, scheduled commercial banks, your regional rural banks, your NABARD, all these things, they have to give loans to these kind of priority sectors. So, from the priority sector, in the context of monetary policy, for your prelims perspective, the topics to be noted is PSL. What is that? Priority sector lending. Then RRB, regional rural banks. Then NABARD, National Agriculture Bank for Rural Development, and your cooperative societies and banks. Because based on this only, you can get questions from this context. Clear? And PSL is very important from the theoretical plus the current affairs perspective. You can get questions by connecting them with the keyword called as RRB and cooperative bank societies. Okay, there will be a trick involved, so kindly go through that. Now, the next important object of monetary policy is generation of employment. Very true, because when there is no employment in the economy, what happens? Let's take the current situation, the COVID-19 situation. What is happening? Lot of issues in the economy, right? People are unable to manage their living standards. Income is not there for them. So what happens? And the price of the commodities, the essential commodities, the perishable or the wheat, vegetables, rice, all is increasing. So what they will do? That's it. They'll end up in poverty. At the end of the day, the GDP per capita will decrease. So now monetary policy makes sure that, come on, there are availability of job opportunities meeting the demand of the Indian society or economy. And now the next important objective is external stability. Now external means what? It talks in the context of rest of the world, matlab the foreign countries. Now it is not only important to ensure that there is some sort of stability in the Indian economy. Matlab, we do have trade with other countries, right? So now when you do have trade with other countries, obviously you need to make a point of understanding that we are having a proper balance. So external stability in the context of BOP, balance of payment equilibrium. What is BOP? A systematic record of all the economic transactions that happens in our country India with respect or in comparison to the rest of the world or foreign country in a period of 1 year. That is called as BOP, right? It has your current account, your capital account, all these things I've taught you. So now they will start ensuring, okay, whether there is a proper stability, whether the fluctuations are affecting the external market, how it is affecting us, etc., etc. Clear? Now, the next important objective is encouraging savings and investment. Very true, because depending on the money supply, because monetary policy by RBI controls the supply of money and also increases it accordingly when the situation demands for the economy. So they literally make a point of increasing savings of the banks and individuals and also making sure that the investments are also there in the economy. Only then economy can grow, because accordingly your interest rate or the rate of interest get fluctuated. Clear? Next is redistribution of income and wealth, matlab to reduce the income inequalities, which is a social indicator, social objective of of our country. Again, monetary policy plays an important role, because they want to make sure, come on, there is unequal or let's say unequal distribution of income and wealth. We all know that the rich is becoming more and more rich, the poor is becoming more and more poor. Come on, you have to redistribute that accordingly, right? Taking into consideration the entire scenario. And then finally, regulation of NBFIs. What is that? Non-banking financial intermediaries. Come on, the NBFIs or the NBFC, they are quite important topic in the context of bad loans. Not bad loans, guys, in the context of small scale industries and enterprises, because non-banking financial intermediaries literally have to give loans. They give loans to all your small scale developments, your micro medium developments and all, right? So regulating that is also coming under the monetary policy only. Not only the scheduled commercial and non-scheduled commercial banks, even your RRBs, your NBFIs, all these come under the direct monitoring of monetary policy. Okay? But they will have their various other concerned departments to make sure that the activity is carried on properly. But at the end of the day, the entire control comes under the RBI. Okay? Yes, Ammo's BOP means balance of payment. Very clear? Did you understand the objectives of monetary policy and also connecting the objective with the practical scenario? And from these objectives, I've told you some keywords. Based on these keywords only, you will get questions. Clear? Yes, Shidal, it is MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises. Yes. So from based on these keywords, you can get a question from the current affairs perspective for the prelims examination. So start connecting like that. So the objectives may look similar, may look very simple. Come on, these are just the objectives. But now, why are you studying those objectives? Because from there, questions can be framed for the prelims examination. That is why I'm telling you. And now look at this keyword, guys. Financial stability. There is something called as Financial Action Task Force, FATF. That is also very important topic, guys, from the prelims perspective. So from this financial stability keyword, you can derive another concept called as FATF. That is important for the prelims perspective. Clear? Now, you can just go through. I have given in detail regarding whatever I explained to you, the same thing only for your understanding in the note format. You can just go through regarding growth with stability. How can you achieve that? That is contraction of money supply, reducing the availability of money supply and the credit. You can literally ensure growth with stability. That is traditionally, that was a monetary policy want to control inflation. But then later what happened? RBI went with a new policy. That is, they'll provide lot of credit and making sure that all the sectors, agriculture, industry, service sector, they are given sufficient money to develop. So automatically there is money in the economy, and now when too much of money supply, inflation takes place. So then they will introduce all their quantitative or qualitative instruments to control them within a certain limit. You can just go through whatever I told you, the same thing. There is something called as the internal and external shocks. Okay, what happens within your country, outside the country. So they will try to control it. Your monetary policy is required for that. You can just go through whatever I told you guys, the same thing. I have just gotten explanations. So some people had doubt with your external stability. Here is the explanation for that. Your BOP, that is I told you. And to control your export and import. We all know that increasing export is more important because you get more of foreign exchange. Whereas import means you end up paying more money. So to kind of balance that you need, your monetary policy. Because we are, our linkages with the global economy is increasing day by day, right? We are having a very good relation with other countries of the world. So now maintaining that external stability is very important. We even do investments in the other countries in the form of various bonds like masala bonds, this, etc., etc. You can just go through all those perspectives. So directly, RBI doesn't control. That is the next thing. So now people may think that how can RBI directly control? So now indirectly, only RBI has a control, guys, over the external stability. And now how do they do that? They do that through something called as managed flexibility. So using this managed flexibility concept, what will RBI do is through this mechanism, they'll start influencing the exchange rate by buying or selling foreign currencies using their quantitative method of credit control, that is open market operations. When there is too much of money supply, what will RBI do? They'll actually start, selling their, open markets, government bonds and securities. So when they start selling, market will buy it. So now money is sucked into the RBI. Similarly, when there is less of money supply, RBI will start purchasing from the market. So automatically, when they start purchasing the government securities or bonds, they are injecting money into the economy. You understand? It's a very simple concept, guys. Yes, Sindhuja, our country benefits by export. Yes, of course, Sindhuja, our country should benefit by export only. See, export and import, your EXIM, they are highly important for any country. Import is also required because when we do not have commodities, what will we do? To satisfy the demand of our economy, we need to import. But now, too much of dependence on import, now we end up paying more money. That will increase a lot of liabilities and debts because we have to borrow to finance that. So now, why our country can't be self-sufficient? So that is why now these days import substitution, that is producing the same commodity what you're importing in your own country. So meeting the domestic demand and also making sure that you are reducing the import. Import is good, but to a limit. But these days majority of your resources, let's say take the case of petroleum and natural gas, all these have been imported. So now we end up paying more. Whereas export is what we are making and giving it up. You understand? Very simple. In day before yesterday, that is October 10th current affairs class, which I took in the Plus platform, I discussed with you regarding Kasturi cotton. That is the importance of cotton, cotton crop with regard to the textile industry for our country, India. India is the second largest producer of cotton after China, and the the second largest, third largest exporter, and the largest consumer as well. But we resort to exporting. That is why the government is focusing more on that crop, right? Because we earn more. Hadn't we depend on importing means, will we do that? Will we focus on, doing more and more research on that crop? Definitely no. We are getting more money through export. That you start earning in forex or foreign exchange. Clear? Yeah. Then regarding savings, income, whatever I told you, the same thing. Yeah. Again. So regarding the non-banking financial intermediaries, I told you, again, RBI directly monitors them. But now, again, like your external stability, guys, though it is the objective of RBI monetary policy also, again, the central bank of your country, RBI, they do not directly control the functioning of all these institutions like your NBFIs, which consist of your, microfinance institutions, your MSMEs, etc., etc. Okay. So now, they control, but not directly. Clear? They indirectly influence the policies and functions of your non-banking financial intermediaries. Clear? Okay. Now, you are thinking, what will you do? Will monetary policy increase or decrease? Look at this picture, guys. So now, do you think monetary policy should expand or monetary policy should contract? Or it should be neutral depending on situations? What do you think? Is monetary policy, good? If monetary policy increases, do that benefit the economy? Or do you think a contraction of that benefits the economy? For that, you need to know, some concepts as to expansion and contraction of what for monetary policy. Let's have a look at it. Okay. Yes, Karthik. Ma'am, video was stuck. Yes, Sheetala, am I audible and visible, guys? All fine? Perfect? Okay. So yes, as I was telling you guys, only when this condition is prevailing only you can expect the inflation to increase. Otherwise it doesn't. And as you all know, these are the different type of inflations. Demand pull, cost pull, stagflation, deflation and all. What is demand pull, guys? When there is too much of demand exceeding the supply. Demand is there by the people, but no supply is less. Demand pull inflation. What is cost push? As I told you in the previous class, those who want to know in detail regarding these concepts, kindly refer chapter 3 of this particular course, which I have been doing in YouTube regularly, because very detailedly regarding inflation, the different types, the measures, vagara stuffs I have discussed. Okay, so cost push talks about the supply side inflation. That is when there is too much of supply, but the demand is less, and that is because of the factors of productions, guys. Your wages, laborers' wages, all these perspectives. Clear? Now, in our country, India, how do you measure inflation? We all know with the certain measures or indexes like your wholesale price index, your consumer price index, your producer price index, and also what? PPI, and also your GDP deflator. These are the normal measures of inflations, right? Which we have studied before. Now, wholesale talks about the mass, measuring the bulk of goods and services. Consumer price index talks about the retail measurement. Matlab, it reflects the real living standard of people. That is why I told you the Monetary Policy Committee, when they were formed, guys, under the chairmanship of the former RBI governor, Mr. Urjit Patel, when he was a deputy governor only, it was put forward, okay, in the year 2016. So now they decided that hereafter we have to fix a rate for inflation, and there was a concept called as inflation targeting, and they targeted the rate of inflation at what percentage? At the rate of 4%, with plus or minus 2 band minus band of 2%. That is up to 6% they can increase, and up to 2% they can decrease, but not more than that or less than that. And now, similarly, previously, if you see the headline inflation, the core inflation, that was in the context of WPI over the year till 2015-16, I can tell you. But then after this Monetary Policy Committee, the RBI, they said that, come on, hereafter, the wholesale price index will not be taken under consideration because they'll have some limitations. Whereas the consumer price index, they'll be considered as the nominal anchor. What is the meaning of that? Here, they will only be used to measure inflation for our country, India, because they reflect the real living standard of people. It shows the real pinch of the economy. Matlab, the pain is felt from when the money goes out of the hands of consumers because they end up paying more. Maybe let's say, for example, you can buy 5 shoes at 500 rupees from the wholesale market. Whereas the same 5 shoes will when it comes to retail market, let's say 5 consumers are buying, they end up paying 2000 rupees. You understand? So now there's a lot of difference. So now when you start calculating from the consumer's point of view only, you understand what expense and what is the inflation rate, etc., etc. That is why they changed it. Clear? So for so many perspectives, you can use inflation, guys, to increase the public expenditure, to make sure that tax evasion, or when they do some kallatarams in taxation, for preventing that, for deficit financing, for printing of more currencies, for uneven agricultural growth, for black marketing or parallel economy, for hoarding, etc., etc. Clear? Now, deflation. Deflation, we all know, when there is the opposite of that, the decrease in inflation. What is the connection of your deflation with monetary policy? Just like how you saw the connection of inflation with monetary policy, the connection of deflation with monetary policy is when there is a fall in money supply. Yeah, that is deflation. Now, it is called as negative inflation. Why? Because the inflation rate will be less than 0% when a situation called as deflation arises. Now, due to this, what happens? The purchasing power of people decreases. So, what will RBI do, guys? Now, the Central Bank of country, what they'll do is they'll start purchasing securities from the market because no money supply. So when there's deflation, to make sure that there is money supply in the economy, now your RBI will start buying the securities and bonds for the market and start injecting money, so the economy doesn't result in a recession or depression. Clear? That is how the deflation concept is associated with monetary policies. That is the central banker perspective. Now, which are the different type of deflations, guys? One is money supply sidecar deflation. Second, you have the credit deflations. And third, you have debt deflation. What are they? Very simple. Now, money supply deflation or decrease in prices, when there is an occurrence of deflation, decrease in price, automatically the purchasing power, or let's say spending power of the people at the micro and the macro level, small and bigger level, automatically falls in economy. No matter what, large or small, they results in a reduction or fall in economy. So now what will the consumers do? They'll wait for the further fall in prices. See, as far as consumer is concerned, guys, even if the price of commodity is decreased to 1 rupee also, they'll still wait to get it free. That is a mentality, right? So now nobody wants to pay higher prices. The whole point is that. So when there is a deflation, means the price of commodity decreases. So now the consumers, they'll be happy, but still they'll expect a more decrease in price. But that is very bad for the growth of economy in long term. And thus, automatically what will the consumers do? They'll start waiting for purchasing them at even lower prices. So automatically their purchasing and consumption activity will hamper the entire economic cycle. So automatically when they do not purchase or not make investments and wait for a further fall in price in the situation of deflations, automatically the investments, they remain idle. When there is no investments, what happens? The interest rate get affected. The economy doesn't have money. At the end of the day, again, shortage of money supply happens. So now what happens? Deflation. Do you think it is good? Definitely no. A reduction in price is not at all advisable for an emerging economy like India, because when there is deflation, automatically the outcome or result is what? It is recession. What is recession? Slowing down of economic activities. It leads to fall in profits, depression, and so on. Oh my goodness. So now if somebody comes and asks you, come on, what do you think? Deflation or inflation is good? 101% you should tell that it is inflation. Though inflation is a general rise in price of commodities also, for an economy like India to develop, you need to have a decent standard of inflation. Otherwise, the economy cannot progress. That is why in the year 2016, the Monetary Policy Committee was put forward by the Urjit Patel Committee, and they literally mentioned a term called as inflation targeting. And they said the targeted or the comfort rate of inflation is what? 4%, with the band of plus or minus 2%. Clear? Yes, Chantu, good morning. Yes, Sheetal. Yeah. Now, the next thing is, how does it work, guys? We have been studying about monetary policy, that this objectives, vagera stuff, the relation of monetary policy or RBI ka, perspective with regard to inflation, deflation and all. Now, practically, how can this work in economy? That's what you should study, right? You are studying all these things, but for you to have a better understanding, to make sure that you can answer the prelims questions when there is an applicability level questions, because these days UPSC asks you questions from application level. The same thing which we have been practicing in the 6 p.m. class. The MCQ questions now, very tricky ones. Only if you know the concept, you can answer them. That is, UPSC is trying to test whether the student is really understanding the concepts rather than by hearting it. So now you studied about monetary policy, you studied about the other perspectives and all. Practically, how will it work? That is very, very important, right? So here it goes, guys. There are two types of monetary policy. What are they? Point number 1 talks about contraction, matlab what? Reduction in monetary policy. Point number 2 talks about expansion or increase in monetary policy. So based on these two contraction and expansionary perspectives only, the monetary policy practically works for any economy. And as far as India is concerned, yes, this is quite important as well. So now, it talks about the cash rate, the interest rate, the economic activity, inflation. All these are connected practically for your monetary policy to work in an economy. Clear? Now, what is contraction, guys? From the keyword, see, you need not study too much about this, but there are, let's say, 8 to 10 points which you have to remember. Not even 8 to 10, 5 to 8 points only you will have maximum to remember about these concepts, and that will enable you to understand the remaining points as well. They are the soul of this concept. So at the end of the day, if you have a thorough understanding of that, you can start connecting them with the other concepts as well. Take care. So now, what is the contraction monetary policy? Contraction means decrease or reduction. So now it is one of the most used monetary policies, which means that many a times monetary policy uses what? Contraction, that method, because they want to reduce the inflation rate. When there is too much inflation or rise in price in the economy, now to an extent situation is okay, but after that, even if the price is higher, means people suffer a lot, no money in the economy. So now contraction comes of monetary policy. And now during the contraction period, what will the monetary policy do? How do they manage it? Matlab, how will they use it, guys, to reduce inflation practically? If you see, if they want to reduce inflation, they go for contraction policy. Now, the main tools of this policies are interest rate and security operation. That is, the central bank of a country, RBI, they will start adopting a policy called as contraction monetary policy. And they'll start increasing what? The bank rate or the interest rate. So now, the people will keep their money in banks to get higher rate of interest. This will result in less money in the hands of people. They'll start saving up because they know the price is increasing. So now they have to have some savings. So they'll start depositing the money in the bank and automatically they'll start depositing. What happens? You get higher rate of interest from banks as well. So now the circulation of money in the economy for the purchasing activities decreases. Automatically what happens? The inflation, the rate will reduce. Clear? Now the second important way in which the RBI guys, they will apply this concept of contractionary monetary policy in practicality is security options. That is open market operations. That is when there is too much of inflation, they will start selling of securities. So now the market will start purchasing it. Now the public, for example, when we start buying something, money goes from our hand. So when RBI is selling securities or bonds in the market, open market, the public starts buying it. So automatically what happens? Money is coming from the hands of public to the RBI. Again, the supply of money is controlled. So automatically inflation comes down. The rate decreases. Clear? In simple terms, this is how you will practically apply the concept of monetary policy in the Indian economic context. You can just go through how it happens. All the sectors, this is called as circular flow of income. This is an economic circular flow of income. So when I teach you the complete course on economy, guys, in the Unacademy Plus class, we'll be discussing in detail regarding all these things with the prelims concept, means concept and all. This is just a gist for you to understand, how it works. Clear? So all the plus students and also people are looking for plus subscription. Again, I'm reminding you, go ahead with the, referral code Nisha.Nujumudeen and get a discount because you benefit more from there. That is why. Yes, the last point. The last point is open market operations. That is one of the quantitative instruments of monetary policy. They'll start purchasing and selling securities from the market to maintain inflation in the economy. When there is too much of when there is too much of inflation, more of money supply leads to inflation. Now to control that, the RBI, what they will do? They'll start selling security. So people have so much of money. That is why inflation is there. So now when the public start purchasing that from RBI, they're giving money to RBI. From the market, money goes to RBI. They are sucking out all the money from the market to RBI. So automatically the purchasing power decreases and inflation is controlled. Clear? Is it clear, Sheetal? Perfect. Now, just like your contraction of monetary policy, you have something called as expansionary monetary policy also. The opposite of that. If contraction is to reduce, if contraction is to reduce your inflation rate, what about expansion? Again, that is also adopted when the inflation is curbed, reduced. And the objective of central bank becomes to reduce the unemployment rate because otherwise there will be recession. What is recession? Slowing down of economic activities. That is a situation where when you adopt something called as expansionary monetary policy. Only in this so-called context, that is when the inflation is curbed or reduced, that time only you take this policy called as expansionary policy. And the reason behind that is to bring down the unemployment rate and also to make sure that there is no recession in the economy. You understand? Now, what will the RBI? Next thing is practically. What can the RBI do? Like the contraction policy, guys, the expansion policy also is equally important. So now the RBI, they'll use the interest rate. Okay. So now the public will start keeping money in their hands. See, this is more or less similar. Look at the contraction policy. The main tools is again interest rate, security options, that is open market operations to reduce the inflation. Contraction policies by RBI is this. Similarly, in case of expansionary monetary policy also, when the inflation is reduced, really RBI does it. But now the central bank applies the monetary policy how, the expansionary monetary policy how? By reducing the interest rate. You understand? They will start reducing. So now in contractionary policy, they will increase the interest rate. In expansionary, what they'll do? In expansionary, they will decrease the interest rate, the ulta, opposite correlation. But the keyword interest is similar for both your expansion as well as contraction. Please note it. It will be easy for you to understand. Contraction and the expansion has interest rate. That is what RBI uses. Contraction will increase the interest rate, expansion will decrease the interest rate. Please write this in your mind maps for your quick revision so you will not get confused. Clear? Why reducing the interest rate, guys? Because people, we the general public will keep money in our hands automatically. More and more purchasing power will be there. Money supply increases. So automatically the public will start consuming more from what, guys? The business. Automatically your unemployment and recession, that is slowing down of economic activities, reduces or completely is being avoided, and there is employment opportunities and the economy functions properly. At the same time, in case of contraction, we saw that again interest rate and securities are the two important tools used by RBI in the context of expansion as well as contraction. So now in the context of contraction, we saw interest rate is decreased and now securities. What they'll do with securities, guys? Supply. So they will start, they'll stop selling securities and start purchasing. That is, the central bank also stops selling securities in the open market through open market operations, and they'll allow only securities to be sold through member banks. Now, what is the whole point of this, guys? Member banks, they scheduled commercial banks, and the other banks were a part of it. So now this activity of RBI, applying the expansionary policy, will ensure that the economy is growing rapidly. And now, along with the economy grows rapidly, what happens? Automatically the employment rate, that will increase. There will be more job opportunities. So the living standard of people is decent. It can prevent them from poverty. At the end of the day, your growth and development or your GDP per capita also increases. And now the chance of recession, that is slowing down of economic activity, decreases. This is how practically your expansionary monetary policy works in an economy. Clear? Any doubt regarding your expansionary and contraction policy? Please let me know. These are very, very important. That is contraction. That is basically in use to reduce inflation. Whereas expansion is to compact or reduce what? Recession, slowing down of economic activity, because this deals with employment opportunities and all. And if you see both your expansion as well as contraction, your taxes are decreased and spending is increased. But the context of expansion is for recession, to reduce recession, and contraction is to reduce inflation. Clear? Please note it. These are the key words based on which UPSC can confuse you. Expansionary and contractionary, more or less they are similar in the context that the tools used is same. Interest rate, securities. But the way they use is different. RBI increase the interest rate in contraction and decrease RBI decrease interest rate in increase the interest rate in contraction and decrease interest rate in expansion. Clear? Sorry guys, please note it. RBI will increase interest rate in contraction and decrease interest rate in expansion. Yeah, it's correct. Very clear? Chalo. So yes, that's all, my young officers. I hope you're very clear with the concepts, expansionary as well as contraction, monetary policy, and also the related tools as well. So any doubt you have, please feel free to ask me. Quick. These are the basic things that you have to understand, because the next chapter will be dealing with the planning 4, that is planning chart, guys. That will deal the next chapter. Chapter 4 part 3 will talk about the qualitative and quantitative instruments of RBI. What are the functions of RBI and the commercial banks? All these things will be studying. Okay, so that will make you more equipped with so many concepts like repo rate, reverse repo rate, etc., etc. Tomorrow 8 a.m. You have a class. So every Monday to Saturday, guys, you have. And now within half an hour, come on, get ready for the Unacademy free special live class, which deals with effective mains answer writing. So many kallatarams and techniques and tricks are waiting for you. Go to Unacademy profile. I'll just show you. Hold on for a while. Those have not got it. 1 second. And before that, thank you so much, guys. And also, here is the winding up quote of the day for you people. Do not wait until the conditions are perfect to begin. Beginning makes the conditions perfect. So start where you are, use what you have, and make sure that yes, you are doing your best. Okay. And also you can follow me via various sources, Unacademy profile, and also via 1 second. Yeah, I'll just show you. Yes, Karthik, you can get the previous classes via 1 second. You can get the previous classes in YouTube itself. You have it there, but mainly you can follow me via Unacademy profile. Okay, so then you will get it. Yes. So this is my profile, guys, Unacademy profile. You can just go through there. If you see, currently, can you see this? This is actually the course on daily current affairs, which is a very, very important course, guys. It is having the Plus platform. There are so many benefits coupled with it. Then you have a course on October 29th. It will be a comprehensive course on Indian economy, like what we are doing right now, a wider version of that. You will benefit more from it. And at the same time, you have an art and culture course as well, covering through NCRTs for just 7 days in the Plus platform for the month of October. And now, the free special live class. These are the classes. Kindly go through. Yesterday we had a carnival, and now at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. you will have a top 2,500 MCQ series. Okay, that will be done for taking into consideration the upcoming prelims, 2021 prelims. Attend those classes. And now at 9:30, guys, every day you will have top 500 answer writing practice. This is the course, so make sure that you are enrolling for this. Right now you have this. Did you 1 second? So here, this is the course, guys. So it will be starting in another 26 minutes. Make a point of immediately enrolling for this. Just go to Unacademy profile, search my name, Nisha Nujumudeen. You get this. Otherwise, come to my Telegram channel, Nisha Nujumudeen at Unacademy for UPSC. You can even find the link there. Okay. So don't miss it, guys. For those who did not know how to enroll, I'm just showing you. So it will be very easy. Come, join the answer writing session and make sure that you're getting prepared and well trained for your UPSC mains examination as well, like your prelims. So I used to teach you a lot of techniques in prelims, right? So now I'm going to teach you some new techniques for your mains examination also, like the keyword elimination comparison technique, that is KEC for prelims examination. Your mains examination is something waiting for you, guys. Get ready and come for the class to know what is a trick that you should use, like your KEC in your UPSC mains as well, something with the keyword perspective, to make you the masters of answer writing. So in that course, guys, I will not give you the answers. I'll teach you the keywords, teach you the method of approach, and give you idea of the body, conclusion, introduction of the answers. You have to write and come. Later, for the 6 p.m. class today, I'll send you the word format, the PDF of the answers in word format for you to compare, provided you are making an effort to write the answers. Clear? Chalo. So bye-bye. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you all at 9:30 for the free special live class at Unacademy, and also tomorrow 8 a.m. with the next chapter, that is Chapter 4, Part 3 of Monetary Policy. Till then, bye-bye and Jai Hind.